You think you know a guy until you realize you don't.
I thought we were friends.
There we go.
I mean, how could you two keep this a secret from me?
It's not true.
Enough lying. The line is through. Now, come on, Jerry, the masquerade is over. You're thin, late 30s, single.
So are you.
Yeah.
Washington thought they knew Joe Biden. He was Uncle Joe, Scranton Joe, Amtrak Joe, you name it. Being a middle-class family guy was Biden's brand. He bragged about it. You know, I'm the poorest guy in the Senate. He was supposed to be a guy who you trust. They called him a straight shooter, an honorable public servant. But that was never the real Joe Biden. The real Joe Biden's a fraud, and the media's known about it for years.
One of the Democratic candidates is Senator Joseph Biden. Have you seen the problem he's been having? He went around and made a speech, and apparently he quoted I think it was a British politician, took his speech and kind of paraphrased it as his own. And then the press got on him, and then he was charged also with taking part of Bobby Kennedy's speeches. And Biden says, not to worry, he reassured his staff. He said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
But with Trump up for re-election, the media needed a fraud to take him out. They knew Joe Biden basically would do what he was told. He'd do anything for power. And if he didn't do it, they'd blackmail him because they knew everything about his secret little life. So they pumped up Joe's phony brand and savaged anybody who pointed out Joe's dark side. But there was only so much covering up you can do. Here's the president the other day acting completely inappropriate with a little kid.
Have you take all these pictures? Yeah. You're good. Let me whisper a secret. Don't tell Mommy what I told you. You got it?
Mm-hmm. I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording.
Don't tell Mommy what I told you. Joe Biden is not the man they tell you he is. Biden's not the calm elder statesman he's portrayed as. Sources are telling Axios that White House staffers avoid being alone with Joe because Biden has a quick trigger temper. They say he's angry. Joe Biden's often heard saying, gosh darn it, how the F don't you know this? Don't effing BS me and get the F out of here. Now, remember, Trump was supposed to be the raving madman. Well, why does Joe Biden hide his anger from the American people? Why doesn't he show us how angry he is about the broken border and high gas prices? Now, he's not mad at all the catastrophic things that have been happening to this great nation or about the pain that you've been suffering at home. He only gets mad when someone dares challenge him.
I have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect.
Ask the right question.
You want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man.
I'm not confident. What the hell? What do you do over there?
Go back and read what I said. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Were you? No.
Now, Joe only gets angry when cracks appear in his brand, when a reporter or somebody zeroes in on something he's been hiding. And Joe Biden's brand's cracking. The media is starting to tiptoe around it. Joe's not the wonderful family man and loving parent that he claims, is he? Now, would you force your drug addict son into rehab, or would you force him to shake down the Chinese for foreign bribes? And suddenly, the New York Times put their finger on it. Joe Biden's a deadbeat grandfather. In a piece titled, "It's 7 grandkids, Mr. President," liberal writer Maureen Dowd says this: Joe Biden's mantra has always been that the absolute most important thing is your family. It is the heart of his political narrative. What I cannot believe and what I find unconscionable is that you refuse to admit or accept the fact that there is a beautiful little 4-year-old girl living in Arkansas by the name of Navy Joan, who is your 7th grandchild. This is about as deep as the liberal media has ever plunged in the knife. And it goes on. Quote, she has the Biden blood running through her veins, and all she's going to have as a reminder of this are some of Hunter's original paintings. Sounds like a lousy trade-off, if you ask me. Is the media dismantling Joe Biden's family man persona? And if Joe Biden's such a great president, shouldn't he be a shoo-in for re-election? So why wouldn't the Democrat media take the sure thing and help put him back in for 4 more years? The Atlantic, a liberal publication, is saying this, quote, "Step aside, Joe Biden. The president has no business running for office at age 80. And CNN saying basically, it's time I think we see other people.
You've often said when people ask you about your age, just watch me. And I think a lot of people do watch you and are impressed, and they think you've been a great president. But many of these people do say, and these are ardent supporters of yours, the next thing he should do is step aside and let another generation of Democrats take the baton. Why are they wrong?
I think there is one thing that comes with age if you've been honest about it your whole life, and that is some wisdom.
The media is rebranding Biden as an angry old deadbeat. Does this sound like something the media does to a Democrat gearing up for re-election? No. The only thing Joe has going for him was his foreign policy chops, but now the British press are calling him, quote, the world's worst diplomat. Now, you send the president to England and the king has to walk him around. I don't love the fact that the King of England is walking our president around like he doesn't know where to go and he needs help. And then he's put on TV and he starts spilling military secrets.
The Ukrainians are running out of ammunition. The ammunition that they call them 155 millimeter weapons. This is a war relating to munitions, and they're running out of that ammunition, and we're low on it.
Joe just told our enemies we're running low on ammo. But they want to throw Trump in prison for mishandling military secrets? What do you think that was? Joe, is there anything else you want to tell China about our stockpiles? Or do they know everything already because of the balloon? And remember when the media was parroting Biden's line about ultra MAGA? They're not even doing that anymore. Remember Bidenomics? Press won't touch it.
The American public is not feeling it. Just 34% of Americans approve of Biden's handling of the economy in a recent AP poll that was released at the end of June. And only 20% of voters believe the nation is on the right track, though voters have not felt good about the direction of the country for over a decade. And Biden is trying to persuade voters that the economy is better than they think it is.
You ever wanted to see the president with his shirt off? Me neither. Well, Joe thought it'd be sexy to hit the beach this weekend. Now, they told us the guy was fit, but he could barely move his beach chair around. The president actually brought cameras to the beach to show himself off in a bathing suit. And how does the commander-in-chief go to the beach and it was just like he was a regular guy? No one even came up to him. No one even looked at him. The president's so unpopular, he could just rip his shirt off in Delaware and no one notices. I was at the beach this weekend. People wouldn't stop coming up to me. I mean, at least close the beach down like Christie did, or hop in a pool with Corn Pop. It's like the media's been fantasizing about Trump without his clothes on for years. Oh, the Russians have video. And Biden's sitting there out rubbing SPF 50 all over his belly in the middle of Rehoboth, and not a single person cares. Meanwhile, Trump's cruising down the entrance to the Octagon, shaking hands with celebrities, playing to the crowd. Joe's out there lugging a beach chair around the sand like it's a 50-pound weight while no one notices. Does Joe Biden look like a guy who can beat anybody in a push-up contest? Do we really want the president suntanning also? I mean, if you're going to blow off steam, play tennis, go for a bike ride, play golf. You're just going to go and lay in the sun, all hairy and glistening? You're just going to sit there at the beach with your eyes closed? Joe Biden's laying out? Didn't he have skin cancer? Meanwhile, RFK Jr. is doing backflips. He's hitting the incline bench. He's doing push-ups. Are we really sure Biden's running for re-election? He just spent the weekend at the beach. It's almost like Joe knows he's not running for president. We investigated the Biden campaign, and it doesn't exist. My show, Primetime, has more staffers than the Biden campaign. He doesn't even have a campaign headquarters. He's only had one rally, and he didn't even pay for it. Lobbyists did. And he's barely raising money. Would you give money to a politician who falls asleep in the sun? I wouldn't. And why would you give Trump that video? You're stumbling through the sand, getting weighed down by a beach chair with your shirt off. That ad's going to run in every swing state in the nation. Not only isn't Joe Biden who he says he is, it's almost like Joe Biden knows something that we don't.